All right, now we are on 3-1, lab 3-1, and I have fuzzy lookup. Okay, fuzzy lookup installed. So first, we're gonna look at the data, make sure it's complete. Gonna go ahead and scroll down here, make sure everything is good. Might just do that test where we zoom out, and it looks to be complete. And then let me look at the vendor table or data vendor workbook worksheet. Okay, looks to be complete. Okay, so we're gonna go back to employees. Zoom out a little bit. Now we're gonna hit Control A. That way all the data is selected. All right, now we're gonna go to data. No, format. Home tab, format as table, and then I guess I'll choose the same one Dr. Linero's used. And have to make sure my table has headers. Okay. And we now have a table. And headers are selected. And now we have to rename our table, and we're going to name it employees. Okay. Now our table is named employees, and we're going to do the same thing for the vendors tab. Hit Control A to select all the data. On the home tab, we'll go to format as table. Maybe I could just switch it up for this one. I use the gold one. Make sure my table has headers boxes selected. Click OK. And selecting the whole table again, just so that I could rename it. Make sure the headers are also selected. Hit Enter. Now we can go ahead and save as. We're going to name this fuzzy hyphen tables. Go ahead and save that. Okay, now we're going to move on to the data reduction portion. So we're going to have to go to vendor set, filter this data by so we're going to deselect everything first so that we can go ahead and select 2019 because that is what we want to look at. So now it shows all of 2019 dates. All right, now we have to get this data onto a new worksheet. Now we hit Control A, and we have to hit it one more time so that the headers are selected. I think now we can go ahead and just Control C, open a new tab, and then go ahead and paste it all. Now I just want to auto adjust all the columns so it looks nice and neat. And this is now a 2019 table from the worksheet, from the vendor's worksheet. We're going to go ahead and rename this worksheet as vendors 2019. Enter. Now the next step is to make this an official table. Okay. So to do that, we're gonna have to select all of the data. So Control A. Looks like it's selecting. There it goes. We're gonna have to go to the Home tab and go to Format as Table. Might just make this another color. Go ahead and select the green one. Or it's not green, but at least it's now a table. So that is what we ultimately wanted. Okay, now what we want to do is go ahead and save this as a new workbook. So we're gonna go to save as, save it in my lab data sets folder, and name this, it'll be fuzzy tables dash 2019. Okay, we also have to rename the table inside of Excel. So like we did in the employees tab and vendors tab or worksheets, we're gonna have to rename this the same way by going to the properties section of the table design tab and calling it vendors 2019. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to actually using the fuzzy lookup. And what we want to do here is essentially just match things that aren't exactly the same. So for example, street here is spelled out, whereas here it is just an abbreviation of the word street. And so basically that's what we want to do, and just match things that should go together, but sometimes are typed differently. And so hopefully we can use fuzzy lookup to match those together. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the fuzzy lookup tab. Make sure I am on the vendors tab. And here we go. Okay, so once we're on the vendors tab, we're gonna head over to the fuzzy lookup, and a new pane should open up. Here it goes. Just gonna extend this a little bit. Okay, so it's a good thing we named our tables so that we could select which tables we want to match. So we're gonna select vendors 2019 for the left table, and for the right table, it should be employees. Looks like I can select. Okay, it's the left columns and the right columns. Okay, and so we're gonna look at which ones we could match up. So we're gonna start off with, for the left column, we're gonna use vendor billing address, and for the right, it is employee street address. Okay, and now we select this to drop it down to the match columns. Okay, so first of all, we have to unselect all of these. And then we can look at the textbook to see which ones we need. Let's see. It only shows me 2 at a time, so it takes a little bit. Okay. So we want to look at vendor 2019, vendor name. So this one. Then we also want vendor 2019 vendor contact, vendor billing address. Let's see. We want the billing zip as well. Employee first name, employee last name, street address, zip, and fuzzy lookup similarity. Okay. All right, now that we have all of the output columns we needed selected, we have to make sure the number of matches is 1. And then we just can go ahead and add another tab. And once our making sure A1 is selected, so open cell, and we can go ahead and click go. And let me make sure these columns are spread out so you can see. Okay, so looks like row 10, 14, and 15 have some similarities. And so this would be the vendor portion, and this would be the employee side to it. And the similarity is 0.70 for row 10, 0.64 for 13, and 0.70 for 15. That just shows how much similar they are to each other. So I think the book said to filter out all of the zeros. So I think what we could do, we want to, one way I know to do this is go here and then deselect all the zeros. And what we have left is those 3 that showed up as similar. Oh, I might have jumped ahead. So let me, okay. Select all of this, go to home, format as table. There you go. Now it is a table. We're going to rename this table fuzzy match and go. And I also forgot to rename this tab, so I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. Fuzzy match. All right, and I think now we could finally just filter out the zeros. Okay, now we have our table showing only the three similarities, or the three rows that had similarities between each other. So we can go ahead and save this now. And honestly, I wish this had some more color to it, but I mean, it works. So anyways, yeah, that'll be 3-1.